Edward here from ERViewer.com. I have another video for you. I'm continuing along working with time and this project that I'm calling Time Sensations, where I'm attempting to perceive things that happened within a span of time, meaning that I'm doing a session prior to the target being selected, prior to the target selector becoming involved. So there's no pre-selected target waiting for someone, where Dustin's not waiting for me to say, okay, can you give me my target? And then he pulls something out of a list of targets that he's already have selected. That's not what I'm doing. The way that I set this up is I do the session, and when I'm done, I send him a text asking for a brand new target. So then he becomes involved and he selects a brand new target. So there's nothing coming from a list or anything like that. That's very important to me as far as this project goes. What I'm looking for is to not only perceive elements of that target, but also any detectable sensations that exist within that span of time. Maybe possibly any sensations of entropy, meaning that the moment that he receives the request and then becomes involved in the project, I'm attempting to perceive any sensations of when that takes place. I don't know what that would even, I'm attempting to find out. I'm not saying that I have any theories of what they are. I'm attempting to find out if it's possible, because that's what I do. I'm an explorer. These are the timestamps for when I sent the request, and that was on the 14th at 10:09. I sent him a request saying requesting new target. He was very busy. He said he would get to it when he could. This is the timestamp of when he actually responded with the target. Let me see if I can clear that up. It was picked at 6:04 p.m. So my request was at 10:09 a.m. He sent his response saying he had picked the target at 6:04. I sent him an image of my session at 6:06, and he confirmed that there were elements in my session of the target that he had selected. So that's one thing. The other thing that I was experimenting with in this one is something called remote influencing. Remote influencing is where you attempt to have an effect on something or someone, either in the future or in the past. There's some information about remote. I'm not going to go into all elements of what remote influencing is. If you're interested in it, Lynn Buchanan has a video out on it, and Lynn Buchanan talks about it a lot. He's really into it. So if you're interested in learning about remote influencing, check out Lynn Buchanan's stuff. So in this experiment, I was attempting to not only connect with the target, experience elements of the target, look for any time sensations or entropy sensations, but also to attempt to influence the selection of the target. So once I got in the experience, once I was feeling the elements that I would call an actual remote viewing taking place, and I felt very strongly that I had acquired and perceived correctly at least some elements of what the target was. I was attempting to influence that be the target that would be selected. I was trying to remote influence the selection of that target. Now, respectfully to my friend Dustin, I'm not trying to control anyone's mind or control his mind. I'm just trying to influence the selection of what I was experiencing. How can I prove this? I cannot prove that I was able to influence the selection of that target. I cannot prove that. All I'm saying is that my attempt was to influence this target, and elements of this target were perceived. That's all I'm saying. I'll call it a case for remote influencing. Now, the target that was selected, and I'm going to probably butcher these words, it was a monument in Bulgaria called the Buzladze Monument. It's in the peak of the Balkan Mountains in Bulgaria. This was an area that was used by a group of socialists, a secret location that these socialists back in the late 1800s would assemble as they were formulating their ideas and their plans for pushing forward their socialist movement in that country. Later in the I think it was in the 1970s, the communist socialists built a structure there to as a monument to them, and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, that structure was the target that was selected. After the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1989, the structure went into disrepair, and so it's a dilapidated monument now. So you'll be able to see those elements. What were coming through were those things, as well as elements of the structure itself. So that's what this experiment is about. This experiment is about several different things. Perceiving a target that would be selected for me in the future, an attempt to perceive entropy. Entropy, again, meaning that the moment that Dustin becomes involved in the project by my request, what happens once he becomes involved, and is something detectable within that. And also an attempt to influence the selection of the target that I was perceiving. And so I'm going to continue doing these experiments as best I can, and I hope you find them interesting. And again, if anybody wants to contribute to my work, I have a PayPal funding page set up with a link below. If you would like to contribute to my work, obligation free, I do appreciate it. And that's what this is about, and many, many more to come. Test, test, test. February 14, 9:48 a.m. And this is Time Sensation Project 2804. So I'm attempting to experience elements of the target that Dustin will select after this session is done, and I send a request. Send a request for a brand new target. So not something off of a list, a brand new selection. It's his, it is the moment of his involvement. It's the moment of his involvement that I am interested in. And that range between now and then, as well as the nature of the target that he will select. And we'll see if I am able to influence the selection of a specific target. So there's several things happening here. 2804. Wide, angular, large, soft, hairy, dense, sloping, wide, getting an idea word here. This could be idea gen of carrying. Carrying eye. Soft. Also another, this feels more like a random thought. This doesn't feel like idea generation. Either random or unimpeded. Destructive. Or catastrophic. And I have a dog battle outside my window. That's either random thought or unimpeded, either destructive or catastrophic. 2804. Glassy, wide, angular, looping, angular. So like a this is an image. There you go. This is a dimensional. It has dimensional feel, but it also has image quality, like. Or like black or gray. That's, how is that, how is this shape? How is this shape? How is this shape? I'm getting this idea. Oh man, let's see if I can get this, but I'm in a dimensional sensation. It's like it's something. That's not it. How do I? Okay. What's the shape? Some weird shape like that, more like this. 2804. Inside, wide, angular, but also getting, this is kind of an AI, or it could be an EI. This could be an EI of hopeless. Hopeless. Hopeless, like, man, like, is it a dire situation, or is it something that has been through some hardship, or? Broken or crashed? Broken, crashed, not functional. Not functional. This. Get back here. 2804. Inside, dense, moving, narrow, cold, 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 desolate, cold, desolate, alone, alone. There's another word. Cold, cold, desolate, abandoned, oh, alone. This idea, something doesn't feel right. Feels, I don't know if is destructive the right word? Vulnerable. Vulnerable. Getting a comparator of like a satellite, or I think I like, or how would you spell it? Like a satellite, but it's like a empty, 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 black. I'm getting comparators here. of the Black Knight. That whatever thing that was photographed floating around in the atmosphere. That's a comparator. But it feels like a desolate and cold. Man, there's another feeling in there too. There's another aesthetic in there. Metallic. Angular. Large. Oddly shaped. There's an odd shape. Parts sticking out. Like something built, structure. Something weird about it. Feels like a weird target. Feels like there's something weird about it. Let me go ahead and end on that. Something strange about this target. Something weird about it. There's something weird about it, but I want to... This is the one that I want, though. This is the one that I want. This is the one that I want. This is the one that I'm connecting with. This is the one that I'm connecting with. It's a strange shaped object or structure. It's a strange target. There's something weird about it. People feel weird about it. You know, that the strange aesthetics like hopeless or desolate. Yeah, I'm getting this image in my mind of the seed vault. In Antarctica. With that kind of shape, you know, that's the image of that. And that could be that could be a comparator, because that's kind of a weird thing. That's a strange thing to, you know, a doomsday vault. And that's what they call it. The seed vault, I guess. Antarctica. But this is the one that I want. This is the one that I want because there's something interesting here. There's something interesting here. There's something interesting about this target. Oh, what's so interesting about it? It's like an unknown thing. Or hidden. Or hidden. Secret. That kind of feel. That kind of feel. But I'm curious now. My curiosity is stretching out. Okay, so my attempt then is to influence the selection of this target. Influence the selection of this target. Because I want to know what it is. Influence the selection of this target. All right. $10:08. I'm attempting to influence the selection of this target. I'm sending a text to Dustin right now. Requesting new target. $10:09, requesting new target. We'll see how this goes.